Inside Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
Hey Foos fans, it's Rob Munoz here. Just letting you know, if you want to stay in the loop, you need to listen to FoosTalk Live.
The patriarch of the first family of foosball here in the United States, of course, and a great player, a world champion. In fact, all of the members of his family, it seems, are world champions and World Cup champions as well. But we're privileged to have with us tonight Mr. Terry Rue. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you, Jim. I'm happy to be here.
It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live. Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 60th episode of FoosTalk Live, brought to you by InsideFoos.com, offering monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, plus live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Sign up now at InsideFoos.com. And brought to you by ProtectoFlex, the world's premier safety accessory. Go to protecto-flex.com. Brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com today. Brought to you by Foosballers, the movie. This Joe Hestling of Foosball documentary is now available as a worldwide download at foosballersthemovie.com. And brought to you by United States Table Soccer Organization, the USTSO, helping to usher in a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member at usafoosball.com. And brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the United States. Visit foosballclubsusa.com and make a donation today. Well, hey there, it's Tom Robinson with the 60th. Yes, count them, 60 episodes of FoosTalk Live. And you know, conversation about foosball and other things always goes much smoother when you have someone else to speak to. Like the world's greatest foosball play-by-play announcer, fresh from Texas, it's Jim Stevens. Hello, Jim.
Hi, I don't know about that fresh from Texas part, but I'm definitely something from Texas, that's for sure. Did you say 60 of these things we've done 60 so far?
Now,
that is impressive.
Technically speaking, when we were at Texas, we did 3 episodes consecutively. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday on Memorial Day. So yeah, that makes it 60 now. And Texas was a blast, no doubt about it. We're going to talk a lot of Texas tonight as the show goes on. In fact, the top 5 tonight, it's a top 5 Texas stories, and so we'll cover pretty much, hopefully, the entire event in our top 5 tonight. But I thought that was really, really cool that you were there live, that we were able to go remotely to FoosTalk Live and Foosball Radio. And it was awesome to have all of us in the same place at the same time. I think you were a lot taller than I remembered, and Mark was a lot shorter. Is how it comes to me. Okay.
But it was neat to see you guys. It was really neat to see you guys in person and work with you, literally sitting next to you as we talked to so many of the great players. Our interview that you and I did with Terry Rue, having him on, was just awesome. What a great dude.
He really is.
And what a great weekend of foosball.
You know, I have to say, early on, before we got in front of the microphone with Terry, I had a few minutes to really just chat with him. And what a hyper intelligent person he is. I mean, he's a super smart guy. I mean, obviously he's a doctor and those other things, and a great player. But man, I mean, he could carry a conversation. I think he should be doing what we do.
Yeah, no doubt. He talks really well, but what he really does is he's a great listener. He really hears you, right? Which allows him to really participate in these conversations at a very high level, which he did, obviously, with you and with us when we had him on the air.
Yep.
But, the Rue family certainly was one of the stories there last weekend. We'll talk more about that as we move forward. And as I look back, and I know we're going to bring Mark on. I think Mark's here. Mark, are you here?
Mark. I was going to
say, Jim, you were a lot fatter. You were a lot fatter than I remember, and that was like just 2 weeks ago at Portland. So how you like that?
Well, Mark, I had a special intro for you this evening. Making the scene in Texas State Championships, you discovered your new career as a vodka sommelier.
Oh, dude, we crushed the bottle. Oh, yeah. Jim and I crushed the whole bottle of Tito's.
Wow.
On Sunday, whole bottle. And then we had like 4 IPAs. I had
the
2
opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Jim Stevens.
Mark?
I had 4 IPAs, 2 shots of Jack, and a bottle of Tito's. And you couldn't even tell. My
No, he was pretty normal.
yeah. I was not even pushing the envelope yet. So yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
wow, I am
good times.
impressed.
Yeah. And we'll be looking back at Texas in our top 5 tonight. But before we get too much farther, I do want to thank everybody who helped so much with the Inside Foods production last week. Obviously, Mark, Ashley, the Citra, were with me in the booth pretty much 24/7. It felt like Jason Wicks there as well to help out. But guys like Michael Stahl, who did several things for us, and when he wasn't playing, he was up there wondering what he could do to help. Keith Glenn as well. Who we're going to have a chance to work with next week in Florida, who did such a good job on the microphone, worked a couple matches, including the open singles final with me.
Right.
Did some interviews, etc. Tanya O'Loughlin, who worked the room and did some things on TikTok, etc. Liz Moore, who sat in and did a women's match with me. And so, also, I want to throw out special thanks. I know that I said Keith. Yeah, that's all right. Tito hanging around your house again?
I'm not listening to you again.
That's all right. It happens. It's a regular occurrence. But finally, just Russell Dyerly and Paul Buquet, who helped set up that amazing pit area. I mean, it was pretty much the greatest pit area I've ever seen in the United States at any event. Maybe second only to the World Cup. In presentation. It's something that we hope to continue to do moving forward. But again, thanks to everybody who really helped out so much. And if I've forgotten you, it's just because I've forgotten a lot of things the last week. The brain isn't quite back yet.
Yeah, no, this is the kind of thing you really now the course players have to have stamina to play and to last through a weekend. But even if you're not a player, if you're there doing what we do, I mean, I had no idea how late things were going to go and how little sleep I'd actually get. And I did, catch a little bit of a head cold. You can probably hear that in my usual dulcet tones, but it's something that I would do it 10 times over. You know what? It doesn't matter. It was still an extraordinary history-making situation that one should not have missed, of course.
Did you know top 5s, and I can't wait to battle top 5s with you, Mark. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna. No, it's in my top 5, so I'll hold my remark. It's in my top 5.
Okay.
No,
all right.
It's already built in.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And before we do move on with what's upcoming here on FoosTalk Live, I do want to talk about the Nationals Championships in Denver as well, which we'll be at in 3 weeks, June 23rd through 27th.
Right.
At the Denver Marriott South Hotel at Park Meadows. Very nice hotel there on the south side of Denver. And so looking forward to that. Mary Moore, IFP, doing such a great job. And we are looking forward to, in our home state here, to attending the national championships. It's across the state. It's about a 7-hour drive, but yet it's in the state.
It's right next door.
And so looking forward to that. Yeah.
In a minute, we're going to talk about where we are on Friday.
Yeah.
Where are we Friday?
Oh, my goodness.
Friday.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
Always out there.
Back to the beach, man.
Yeah.
Back to the beach. Yeah, we're talking a lot about that tonight. And Tommy Brewer and Luke Watson, a couple of the promoters of that event, are going to join us tonight for sort of a Beach Town Beatdown, maybe the best name of any tournament in America. Beach Town Beatdown.
Best trophy.
Promoters and
Right.
Yeah, but best in a lot of ways. Best promo video as well, I think. And And so we'll be talking with them coming up here in a little later.
I think I think Mark shares a lot of the same sense of humor with Tommy and Luke, for sure. It seems that they appreciate the same things.
Like bathroom humor, like blackout drunk nude behavior. What are we talking about?
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
of the above.
For sure.
Wasn't likely.
Yeah, and shotgun and holes through the head, those sorts of things, and making sure that there is matter blowing out the backside.
Oh yeah.
But no, it was brilliant, and boy, it certainly caught people's attention. And so we will be live, as Mark said. We'll be live starting Friday evening, Eastern Coast time, 6 p.m. It's 6 p.m. East on Friday night. Mark and I will be live from the Beach Town Beatdown. Looking forward to that, and we'll talk more tonight with Tommy and Luke about that.
Now, by the way, guys, will there be an opportunity for us to get a report to air on FoosTalk Live?
Crickets chirping.
Dude,
the only thing is bandwidth. Like I could say, yeah, I want to do that. Then you realize you're buried in matches with like no bathroom break. You're like, man, I hope I didn't overpromise. The goal is yes.
Well,
the honest answer is hopefully it's we're working really hard at those things. We don't want to drop into the ball. So for sure, if we can make it work,
let me share
one way or the other.
Let me share a trade secret with you. Let me share a trade secret. It's called recording.
Oh,
You can use a recording.
Yeah.
So just, I'm throwing that out there.
Well, let me like foreshadow it then. Tommy, Yore Jr. and Tony are playing in the finals of Open Singles.
Oh.
It's a 2-set nail biter in the finals, and it could go either way in Game 5. Just some foreshadow for you.
Oh man,
There's an ocean of dead. There's an ocean of lifeless bodies in their wake. That's all you got.
Man, you've been practicing.
I'm in. No, we'll be there one way or the other. Last week, of course, we were there for 3 different shows. By we, I mean me, and so we will continue to make sure that happens next week. As well.
Jim, can I file a formal complaint, please?
I'm not sure that's not my department with Inside Foods. Maybe send something to Ashley if you don't mind.
What I want you to do is I want you to fax it to me. I'll give you my fax number. I'll look at it as soon as I can.
It's nothing personal, Mark, but you're writing again. What are you doing? Writing? I don't get it, man.
What?
You're writing again. It's when you start writing, things get really strange.
Yeah. Hey, dudes, let's get this show on the road. Here we
go. I don't even know what we're talking about. Let's go.
I worked up a powerful thirst.
Oh, there you go.
Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA.
Well, okay. Now, I had a dadgum last IPA I had. That was a Texas IPA. But, Jim, why don't you start with this? Because I have some things to say here.
Oh, you do? Okay, I'll be quick then. I'm having a highlight. This is Tony Spredeman's favorite beer out of Tampa, Florida, out of Cigar City Brewing. Excellent IPA. Gave us a 95, ranked number 90, which isn't bad in North America. And actually, it's 7.5%. And it's hold on, let me have a sip. I knew I was going to like it. I've had a few of these before, a couple with Tony before as well. So for me, I'm going Florida. It's Cigar City Brewing. It is a highlight.
And when Tony was on the show last summer, when he was with us and he mentioned highlight, I saw it in the grocery store like the next day, and I bought some. And yeah, it's great. It's terrific. It's really, really nice. Now, I'm sticking around the East Coast here, if you don't mind. I'm going with a Cloud Drop double IPA from Upper Pass Brewery in Vermont. It is 8% alcohol by volume. Let's pop it. All right, here we go.
That's going to be good, I think.
Yeah, you could say that. Oh yeah, no, that's quite good.
Have we ever disliked a beer? I was asked that last week. Hey, do you guys ever not like a beer ever?
You know what? So far, I'm going to take the 5th. Let's put it that way. But no,
even a bad IPA is a good beer. That's what I always say.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, last week when I first got to the tournament and Steve Murray was there waiting with a cooler. He handed me a cooler, right? And it had IPA, dadgum IPA and another delectable piece. But it seemed to be missing a few cans. According to Steve, he's like, wait a second, this is a little light. So when he opened it up, somebody else had helped themselves to a couple of those dadgum IPAs intended for my palate. So either one of you guys want to confess?
There needs to be an investigation for sure.
Did we drink those?
Doubt.
I don't think we drank those. Did we drink those, Jim? There was a whole.
I feel like
dadgum IPA.
I feel like I had my first one with you. Tom Robinson. And so no, the culprits are not here tonight. I apologize.
All right. Go ahead. Blame it on the support staff again. Go ahead. Do it.
It wasn't me.
Mark?
I'm trying to think through. No, man. We filled up that cooler. Well, I'm drinking LaCroix passion fruit right now. I'm trying to think if I drank your beer. I'm trying to remember if I drank your beers. I don't think I did, man. It's possible I drank. It's possible I drank them all, though.
Well,
I've only got one thing to say to that. Dadgum.
Dadgum it. Carn sarn it.
All right.
Well, all right. So we have to toast the honor group of the week. And of course, I think you already know who that is.
Yeah,
it's
we know
the
who it is, for
SFFC,
sure.
South Florida Foosball Club, handling the Beach Town Beatdown next weekend, Lake Worth in Florida. Let's
and these guys are go ahead, Mark, you go first, and I want to say about him as well.
I was going to say no. I was going to talk about Lilo's. So you go first, and then I'll talk about Lilo's.
I wanted to talk about South Florida Foosball Club, and just this is a very organized unit. These are guys working together, guys and gals working together to really support foosball in South Florida, make some things happen, do it the right way. Of course, they were intimately involved with Mark in terms of putting that promo together.
Mm-hmm.
They have been so accommodating going into the event, and you'll see tonight Tommy Brewer, Luke Watson, a couple of class individuals who are running a class event, and this club that they have down there, South Florida Foosball Club, certainly one of the strongest in America.
Yeah.
I'll say that it's not just that they're like really good. They have a novel approach to supporting foosball. It's not like they took old, basically antiquated ways of promoting foosball. They have a group essentially that works together and coordinates and like however it works in a profit share or an expense share. And it's something that should be modeled in other places. It is a collaborative way to support foosball that's absolutely unique. And we'll have them describe it to us if they want to describe it later. I think it's something that can be duplicated in other places where you get good people that have good attitudes that want to develop and grow the sport in the local area and are not trying to get outrageous with things, but like develop and be progressive about it. It can be done in other places. So I hope to get into that topic with them.
Well,
I wanted to toast Lilo's, and that's the bar the tournament is being played at. And Lilo's the owner there. Lindsay has been great, and it's super fun location. Now, the food looks amazing. The general area looks incredible. But the owner there, Lindsay, was so easy to get in touch with, and we designed a cocktail. Actually, it was Midori. Midori is a bartender. She designed a cocktail called the Mauler. It's a super cool cocktail, and they're going to be serving that. And so we have this whole thing we're doing to promote the location. If you're in South Florida, you got to go. If you can't, it's too late to plan it if you haven't signed up. It was a limited entrant registration,
right?
But you got to if you can be there, you got to go over there and have a drink and hang out and party with us. If you can't be there, the next best thing is watching it on InsideFoos.com.
Well, there you go.
That'll be the next.
There you go.
Yeah.
And have a Mauler. Now, can we get the recipe for the Mauler, or is that going to be a trade secret for now?
I'm gonna reveal the recipe midweek.
You are
with the picture of the drink.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to that.
Wow, looking forward to that. I'm guessing I'll have to have one then. It's kind of my responsibility to try a Mauler at some point during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I used to open bar tabs and leave them open. The password is Pepe, P-E-P-E. If you come to me at Lilo's and say the password, I will buy you a Mauler.
Wow.
Pepe. Come to me. The password. Now, unless I really like you, I'll buy you more than one. But if I don't know you, you come to me and say Pepe, I'll buy you a Mauler.
Pepe.
I'm not sure I could even say Pepe after a Mauler. I'm not sure I'd be able to say that.
That's the password is Pepe.
Pepe.
Password is
all
Pepe.
right. You're gonna be spending a lot of money next weekend, Mark.
Come on down. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Hold on. Let me qualify this competition first.
Whoa.
You got to be a foosball player. You got to before I get 3,000 people come up to me saying Pepe.
Pepe.
Oh, this could be great.
Limit first 10. First 10. That's it. First 10.
Oh,
first 10. That's still not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
First 10 that approaches Mark. Say Pepe.
Yeah. Say Pepe. I buy you a Mauler.
Well, I'm sure Tommy Brewer and Luke Watson will both give a try to a Mauler, and we're looking forward to talking with them a little later on in this show as well. Talking Beach Town Beatdown, talking Texas State here at FoosTalk Live tonight with Tom Robinson, Mark Torres, and me, Jim Stevens.
I can't be cheap. First 20 people that come say Pepe.
It's at 20 now.
Buy a Mauler.
Jeez. We'll see how things go by the end of the night. Okay. Well, guys, I would say that it's more than high time to find out. Well, look back in time, all the way back with FoosTalk. Ancient history.
With great moments in foosball history, this is a FoosTalk Live Flashback.
Sent down the middle and dug out by Yore. So he's working with just the wall in the high lane here, but you can't be on both of them, as we said. And he's not on the wall. That thing is just so smooth.
Beating that wall to death. Tony keeps baiting him full side.
Block here by Tony, and the grab on the 3-rod. Tony is working his tail off defensively right now. Both these guys are. And Spredeman fires it down the middle. It's 3-3. Tony on the wall. This time he bounces and brushes. And fires it home. It's championship point for Tommy Yore, leading 4-3 here in the fourth game in what has been an extraordinary performance on table number 1. Tony trying to stay alive as he tic-tacs on the 5. And can't hold on to the pass. match point, championship point for Yore.
I know I'm relatively new, but this has got to be one of the most exciting matches I've seen. I would love to see the shooting percentages on this one. This is unreal.
And Tommy Yore now with a chance to win it. Does not have a timeout remaining as he sets it up and strokes it home.
What an incredible match.
Tommy Yore in 2 sets comes back to defeat Tony Spredeman and win the 2021 Texas State Open singles title. And look at him. That might be the biggest win of his career, folks.
I think he knows the gravity of what he just accomplished.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FoosTalk Live.
Flashback. Yeah, ancient history, all right. What was it, 6 days ago?
6 days ago, yeah, ancient history, and what a match it was. We'll talk more about it, I think, in the top 5 later on. But boy, it was really cool. And you heard Keith Glenn on there, our newest Inside Foods announcer.
Yes.
He's going to be working some color, some interviews, and we may work him in to do some play-by-play as well. He was solid. He was really good, and we really appreciate all his efforts. And he did the open singles final with me at the Texas State Championships. Mark had left earlier in the day with previous commitments, but it was great to have Keith on board for what turned out to be a heck of a match. Just a heavyweight battle, no doubt about it.
So who would have predicted that not only did Tommy Yore win this thing, but he double dipped Tony? Now, how unlikely?
I predicted it on day one that it could happen.
Did you?
And I did because Tommy has beaten Tony 2 out of the last 3 terms before that and double dipped him the last time they played in the final. So Jim wasn't necessarily reluctant about it, but Jim was stalwart that it had not been done. Tommy had not done it in a major, and I had basically positioned that Tommy was probably going to do it at this tournament.
Right. No, I got to say it was actually shocking.
I don't know if it was. Yeah, it really was. I don't know if it was probably Mark, but certainly possibly, and a strong possibility, of course, based on how good he is. But I don't want to say too much because he's going to come up again in my top 5, certainly. And so.
No,
so we'll address it then.
It's something we can certainly talk about for many shows to come when it comes to what was going through Tony's mind mentally, what was going through Tommy's mind mentally. I mean, I have to say, I have never seen so many blocked shots on Tony Spredeman. He was blocked so many times consecutively.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I talked about in the winner's bracket final, which Tony won, and prior to that, and earlier in the tournament, was that Tommy. So a lot of people lose to Tony as soon as they walk up,
right?
And there's plenty of those guys that have, we don't know if Blake's ever beaten Tony in singles, and there's Kevin Romero's never beaten Tony in singles. Tony loses rarely, if ever, these days, and it's like it's a minor miracle, if not a full-on miracle, that when he gets double dipped. But you got to give Tommy credit for great defense. That's just fundamentally true. But there is no doubting that between the ears, Tony second guesses himself against Tommy in ways he doesn't against other players. There's a little bit of hesitation. There's a little bit of extra thinking. Tommy makes him think that much more. And part of it is the way Tommy's moving his min. And part of it is his speed. But the other part of it is Tommy has a sense of fortitude and determination and confidence that Tony is not used to seeing since maybe Billy and Fred and maybe Ryan sparingly in the past.
Okay.
So Tommy makes Tony buckle in ways that no one else can. That's just
since we're already talking about the top 5, why don't we just do it?
Yeah,
I can comment on this.
Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead with the top 5. Of course, this week is the top 5 Texas moments.
Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Jim Stevens and Mark Torres.
I never get tired of that USC marching band. I never do. I love it. I actually literally stand up here at my desk and start marching. I really do, but not when we're doing televised ones. When we do video, I do not stand up and march. But no, top 5 Texas stories, and there were a lot of them, Mark. Yeah, as you know, I mean, it was such a busy weekend. There was so much going on, so many players. that I think it's pretty easy to pull 5 stories out of this, and we probably could have doubled that and maybe tripled it with all the different things that went on. So obviously we take these things from a different perspective. And you know, I think I heard a rumor that maybe even Tom Robinson's going to chip in with his top 5 as well tonight.
I think actually
But,
I will. I have a couple of things, but unfortunately, guys, my top 5 is going to be delivered in a slightly different way from usual. But anyway, I digress.
All right, I look forward to it. So, Mark, I know you each had different ideas. We each saw it through a different lens, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say tonight for sure.
All right, man, let's go. Let's roll.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number.
All right, my number 5. So stories, as for me, it's also moments. And I guess number 5 for me would be a couple things that happened early on. Coming in and seeing the room for the first time was amazing. I was early on Friday. It was late. Was it late on Thursday? No, it was early on Friday. I came too late on Thursday to see the room. I get in there on Friday, and the banners are going up. The stage is already built, by the way, with Jim and Russ Darley and one other person's painstaking building of that stage. The trusses were already up, and the room was stunning. So just seeing the room was really, really amazing. The hard work that got put into it. But immediately, soon after that, there a huge line formed outside, and they were only letting a couple of us in that were,
official
part of supporting it. But then there was these huge lines, and then they had to wait until they were all set up. The people were in their stations and open the door, and 100 people come pouring through the door. At least 100 people come pouring through the door, and I'm standing there trying to take video of it, and I have some video, and it's really fun. All these people coming in, man. That was for me. And number 5 was seeing the room, and then last part of that was 265 people played in 2019. 444 people played this year. So it was a massive leap in attendance. A myriad of reasons for that, but hey, that's my number 5.
And we can touch on the reasons for that as we move forward tonight as well. But yeah, my number 5 is also similar, pretty much the same thing. It was the presentation of the event. Obviously, the way that the room was set up was beautiful. We talked about it a little earlier. It may be the best finals area we've ever created here in the U.S. But it was more than that. It was a ceremony on Sunday night where we honored the Hall of Famers, Christina Fuchs, Tom Yore, and Charles McIntosh, who did not get a chance to be officially in-person inducted in either 2020 or 2021. And Steve Murray and company took the time out to create special plaques for them, to honor them, to bring them up on stage if they were there, and really celebrate their inductions into the Hall of Fame. So for me, too, it was the presentation. Mark talked about how many players were there. It was a beautiful setup, lots of fun, pinball games and Papa Shot and ping pong and cool. Everything else that you could play out in the foyer before you even came in the ballroom. And then the ballroom, as Mark said, was stunning. It really was. And it was just, and again, I saw David Raddick on the last night, and he said, Jim, there were 444 players here this weekend. Did you think we were going to get it done by 9:00 on a Monday night on the last night? And I said, no way, man. Great job. So David Raddick and company also did a great job. But yep, for me too, number 5 was the presentation of the event.
And might I say that each day at the end of competition, that room stayed filled for at least an hour after the last big match, at least an hour, if not 2, until people had to be kicked out to get out of the room. And so they could clean up and prepare for the next day. That was impressive, I got to say.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have a top 5 this week. And my number 5 happens to be a moment that, to me personally, I was starstruck. Let's put it that way.
FoosTalk Live Top.
I don't have to play that again, but we can play this instead. And we're walking around the floor getting some comments from the players and the crowd here. And we just happened to run into a couple of very, very talented players. First of all, I got to say, I am starstruck because we now have a chance to talk to Sullivan Rue. Sullivan?
Hi.
Sullivan, so how's it going for the weekend?
It's going pretty good. My shots gotten faster as the weekend goes along, so I'm feeling good.
Getting faster. Okay. So what events are you playing?
So I'm playing open mix, pro singles, expert doubles, broken side doubles, and I play classic women's doubles.
Nice. So what's the toughest match you've had so far this weekend?
I think the match I just played was probably the toughest. Me and Brewery played Cal and Element.
Nice. Did you win? Of course.
Close call.
Yeah. So you clearly are still in it.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to wish you the best of luck. So, how many times have you been to Texas States?
Probably every year in my life. So 18 years, I'd say.
No kidding. Sullivan Rue, who's been there 18 times, and what is she?
Yeah.
18 years old.
Every year of her life, she's been there. I remember when Terry and Keisha first started bringing her out on tour. Certainly, and for those of you listening, you could kind of hear in the background of that clip there that there was a ping pong ball bouncing, right?
Yes.
And I think I heard Tony Spredeman over there on the Papa Shot machine setting some new records. But yes, 18 times that Sullivan Rue has been there.
Now, how many other people or players can say they've been to Texas States 18 times in their lifetime?
No other 18-year-olds, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. At any rate, guys, that's my top 5.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 4.
For me, number 4 was again I don't know if many people can identify with it, but there was a massive partnership and collaboration that was going on behind the scenes. There was a new software being used for the first time with David Kala, and there was Steve Murray, and he was testing that software. There was Brittany, Jason Wicks, there's David Raddick, and so many other people that I would forget names if I try to mention all of them. So I'll just leave it at that core group. And they were coordinating with us to get the right matches on the tables and managing the schedule. Everybody working in concert, people not knowing whether to expect 250 people or 500 people, and managing all those expectations and us delivering, and I'll sell myself short because I left on Monday morning. These guys pulled through. They usually finish on Sunday and have Monday to kind of recover a little bit. That didn't happen at this tournament. They went till late.
No, they don't. They don't ever finish on Sunday. This is pretty standard. They got it done. Yeah, they got it done at a time that usually a tournament with 250 players gets done. But it always runs through late, not late Monday night, but 6, 7, 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Then it was described to me that it's light fun on Monday, and the way it sounds like is they were full on playing intense. I mean, the men's classic doubles was still raging on well into Monday, which right. So those kind of things are it's incredible that it got done on Monday. Let me put it that way. I'm just brilliant and amazed it got done on Monday. So the partnership was impressive to me, and so for me, number 4 was the new software and all the people working together to make this tournament. Finish was great.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I guess my number 4 is similar to that as well. And my number 4 is the turnout. I mean, we knew it was going to be a big one. Steve Murray told us that he had never seen hotel room nights at this high of a number. So we kind of knew going in that it was going to be a big one. And of course, I think maybe we talked about those reasons last week or the week before. About how, obviously COVID, people coming out. This is the first major championship. It's a traditional historical event in Texas, in the center of the country. All these factors coming together to create this perfect storm of a turnout of 444 players. And I think Inside Foos might have had a little bit to do with it as well. Some of the promotion we did for that event and the things created by Mark Torres and Noah Rosenstein. But it was almost shocking. I mean, we have not, you would see these kinds of numbers. Vegas would approach these numbers. I think Vegas has hit 400 a couple of times at the Hall of Fame Classic. The Tornado Worlds, the last Tornado Worlds in 2019 was actually over 500 players. But that also includes an international turnout. And that's the one thing about this. It was 444 players. And I believe there were 3 players from out of the country. 3. There was one from Kuwait, Fawaz Al-Ghaz, and then a couple of players who came up from Mexico to play. And that was it. Everybody else was from the United States. No Canadians, as we usually get. No Europeans, as occasionally shown.
Great points. Great
points. Despite all that, we would have had close to 500, otherwise, if that was allowed. Of course, coming out of COVID is a big part of it. I think Inside Foos Promotion's a part of it. The history of the event and Steve Murray and David Raddick and what they bring to it, Jason Wicks, Brittany, etc. But it was really not shocking, but it kind of was. Number 4 for me was the turnout.
And Jim, I have to say that the turnout, it's hard for me to use a scale necessarily. I mean, I've been to a couple of tour stops, but wow, that's all I can say. And I agree with your top 4, but I have my own. So here's my top 4.
So Jim, gotta ask you.
All right.
How many tears did he cry? Steve Murray up there on the.
I don't know. I'm not sure whether it was more than me or less. I don't know. but Steve Murray always promises he's not going to cry, and he absolutely did. But then they sort of shocked me and surprised me with a Texas legend.
Yes.
Honor. Yes. And so it was quite emotional.
Okay, Jim, confess. Talk about what happened up there during that big ceremony. It was 7 p.m. on Sunday evening. And a few not very many dry eyes in the house that evening. Can you?
Yeah, it was an emotional evening for sure for all of us. We kind of opened up with a short speech, just kind of with our feelings about COVID and coming out of it, and how great it was to be back with all of our friends, and the special energy that we felt, especially on Friday. Mark talked about how we opened up the doors and a flash flood occurred. It literally felt like that. It may have been more than 100 even, Mark, that came in, and everybody was so excited to get in there and play, and the energy in there and seeing friends. And it was really remarkable. And so we talked about that. And of course, the emotion of having the Hall of Famers up there. And of course, and then it was a surprise for me that I was honored as a Texas legend, and I do have Texas roots, so I think I qualified to some degree. But it was really tremendous, and I was very touched by it for sure. And Steve Murray and company, just class acts all the way around. So an emotional evening, but I think a really fruitful one for those of us who were involved with it, and for those of us who were watching both live and on the stream.
And in the history of FoosTalk Live, I don't know if you've made our top 5 before, Jim.
That might be the first time.
Yeah,
I know that remarkable.
Definitely the first time.
I'm honored.
No,
I'm
remember top 5 overrated push kicks?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Never mind. My bad.
I am definitely on that list. Definitely. No question.
Here we go.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm number 1 on that list.
Okay.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Number 3, I got Sullivan and Tommy Yore. It's funny because Sullivan beat Midori in the finals of women's singles, and Midori may be nowhere near her prime. You can't tell the prime in anyone's career in anything until their career is over. Midori's 27 years old. She may go on to win dozens of more world championships. It's just this one, Sully got her. And it's going to be interesting to see how this battle plays out over time.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be battling at the top of women's events as long as they both feel like playing foosball. They'll be battling at the top. And that's only, I don't even like that second or right there or above Tommy double dipping Tony, which is, man, that's a unicorn in this era. That's another thing, right? Tony is in his mid-30s.
Right.
He may not be sniffing his foosball prime. We cannot tell. We do not know what Tony's left to do, but Tommy is beating him, and beating him with some level of consistency. If you look at the scope of things, no one beats Tony. They just don't beat him anymore. And Tommy's beaten him now 3 out of the last 4 times he's played him, and double dipped him twice.
Yeah.
That puts Tommy in. Now we talk matchups. You could talk about how matchups make fights. That's why, Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield is a thing, but Tommy had to beat a field, a monster field, and he beat all the best players, by the way. Mm-hmm. Tommy beat all the best players. So those two, man, how could number 3, Tommy double dipping Tony and Sully beating Midori in the finals.
All right. Hold on now. Tommy Yore. Now, and I've heard you quote this statistic several times now. Well, that Tommy Yore has beaten Tony Spredeman 3 of the last 4. I'm sorry, but I can't count 3 of those. I'm sorry, but I can't. These are not events that had a huge world-class turnout, world-class field. These were tournaments that were held in a time where maybe you didn't get complete participation or complete focus because of the environment and the conditions. So for me, this is the first time that he has beaten Tony recently. This was a major. This was a world-class field. And so for me, yes, this one I will give him credit for, no doubt about it. It was incredible, and we'll talk more about it. I guess I should have put it lower on my list so I could finally talk about it. But I'm not going. I do not take that.
I don't know how you can take that stance. I mean,
wow.
Kevin Romero's never beat Tommy. I don't know if Kevin's ever beat Tommy in a pickup game. You know how hard it is to get a pickup game from Tony. People don't beat Tony in pickup games. People don't beat Tony in left-handed pickup games. So, Tommy is legitimately beat Tony. Now, they weren't majors.
Serious? No, they weren't. There was 3 tournaments that were 40% of a Texas state. So if you're going to put it that way, you've got to clarify the fact that these tournaments were not as prestigious, not as well attended, not as strongly attended.
I don't care. I don't care
if you're going to use that.
I don't care if it's Wednesday bar singles tournament and there's 3 people there. And there's 3 people. There's Lafredo, Tommy, and Tony. If you beat Tony,
I think you're making my point for me. I think you are. Anyway, my number 3.
I love that.
My number 3 is was actually another singles player. It's Brandon Munoz. And of course, when he exploded on the scene, now 3 years ago at the tour kickoff, it was amazing. This guy I'd never seen before comes up there and wins 5 or 6 events and finishes 5th in open singles in what was a strong field, not nearly as strong as Texas State. But he comes to Texas this year. This field, Mark Torres, was stacked. There were 16 players or so in there that you could say have won open singles major titles or could. And here this kid comes in there and puts on a show and finishes 4th and really battles everybody. The match against Tommy Yore, as great as the open singles final was against Spredeman, that match might have been even better. It might have been an even more entertaining match when Brandon Munoz faced off against Tommy Yore. Went 5 games, and it was awesome. Yeah, to see what this guy can do. This young man out of Costa Rica who has a minimal amount of really major championship experience, yet it doesn't seem to faze him. He comes out there and does his thing and does it well. For me, it was so exciting to watch, just incredibly exciting to watch. Number 3 for me, Brandon Munoz.
Jim, I'm totally down with that because I watched the Tom Yore Senior Brandon Munoz singles match. Wow. I mean, Tom Yore Senior is he's seasoned, he's phenomenal as a player, and yet Brandon Munoz really kind of handled him.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It was
Tom. Before we get to yours, I want to say something about Brandon too, because I know we're going to move on. We're going to do yours. Here's the thing that's interesting about Brandon and Kevin Romero. When you see incredible physical specimens at Foosball, and they're young, and we don't get a ton of that right now. We're not getting a ton of young, hardworking, super talented physical. We got 2 right now in Kevin and Brandon. And then obviously we got Tommy Yore too. Sure. But it's a reminder of what happens with age. Like these guys, if there were 30 of these guys, we'd see it more. But these guys are starting to take out the elder statesmen, the good solid masters that had a grip on the competition for a while. These guys are starting to lose frequently to these young super talents. And so as we see more of these younger guys, because you can't deny the lateral speed and the physical, the power and the fast twitch. I mean, these guys are just quicker to the rods than the other guys because of youth. But as we see more of these guys coming along, man, they're going to start overtaking those middle to higher rounds, and they need it between the ears to win the tournament.
No doubt.
I had my
no doubt about it.
I found myself rooting for Tom Yore Senior because he's seasoned and he's very patient, and he's got amazing hand speed too. But he was just overpowered. Brendan just took him to task, which, it was remarkable. But okay, I do have a number 3.
Can I have that microphone for a minute? I went, oh boy, here we go.
Jim Stevens, this is your life.
This is your life, yeah. I was raised as a small child on a farm in Nebraska.
And I have to say,
well, we brought in your 3rd grade school teacher.
Mrs. Leopold, it's great to see you.
Oh, Jim was a wonderful student.
What happened to your teeth?
When he came to school, he was wonderful.
So I had to pick that as my number 3 because I'd never met Brad Anderson for the first time. I mean, I'd never met him personally. I'd heard his name a few times, his voice, but that was the first time I got to see him in action on microphone with you, Jim. You guys killed that. That to me was in the top 3, of course. That was my number 3 best moment of the weekend at Texas State's. What is going on there? You got to give me a little more explanation as to what's up with Brad.
Brad's a lunatic. You said first you've heard his voice. I think what you meant is you've heard his voices, and he often hears the voices in his head as well.
I see.
But no, Brad's a great dude. Mark's going to break his record eventually, I think. But Brad has worked more matches with me than anybody. You've heard me say that before. And funny guy, very funny guy, and that was a lot of fun.
That was truly remarkable. And I was thinking as I'm listening to this, that sounds like Robin Williams mixed with Jonathan Winters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more Winters. Yeah, but yeah, that's a
Right.
good one.
But there you go. There's my number 3.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Whoops. I meant number 2.
Number 2. Let me do it. Number 2.
There you go.
So, number 2 moment for me, it was unexpected, and I actually tried to get out of it. It was the honor of addressing the attendees at the Texas State Championship. Steve Murray comes up to me on Sunday, and by this time, I think we had either nearly finished or finished that bottle of vodka. And that bottle of vodka was a full bottle of vodka with me and Jim and Steve drinking out of my cup.
Yeah.
But we were absolutely coherent. It was not a big deal. It was absolutely coherent. There was no belligerence at all, not the whole weekend. Point being, Steve is pretty adamant about me. And, I was hesitant, but I'm so happy that I did. And I realize now how, it's just a tremendous honor to speak to the everyone there and be part of that ceremony. Present Jerry Todd with his Federico belt and the jacket he bought. He got a ring, the World Championship ring from Steve Murray, the Masters jacket, and the Trevor Park U.S. Open jacket. He's added those to his collection. And then the honor of presenting Jim as a Texas State legend that goes up on that wall of fame. So it was unexpected and an incredible moment for me. And I was so happy that I did it. So thank you, everybody, Texas State, for allowing me to present to everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was a great moment. I thought, Mark is always so good in front of crowds, no doubt about it. He's obviously got some experience doing it. You can throw Mark up there on a second's notice and he would still be great. And I thought you handled it beautifully. And it was an honor for me, certainly, to have you announce me as a Texas legend. As belligerent as Mark and I can be with each other oftentimes, and as argumentative, we actually do love each other. And I really, really, really appreciated that, Mark. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Now, number 2, Mark's number 2 was all about him. My number 2 is about a beautiful and talented young lady named Sullivan Rue, who, we're talking about these players, right? We're talking about the Tommy Yores, the Kevin Romeros, the Brandon Munozes, the Sullivan Rues, the Midori Kimuras. The future looks bright. And Sully right down to me. And she won singles, beat Midori in the finals of singles, won doubles with Midori. That's a team that I'm not sure they're going to lose a final all year on the Tornado Tour. But it's also a couple of players. And I'm going to focus in on Sullivan. And nothing against Midori, who was fantastic. It was funny watching all weekend long. These two are great friends. They are like the BFFs, right? Sullivan and Midori spent the entire weekend just kind of walking around, hanging together, talking smack about other people. No, not that much. But winning a championship. But to me, watching Sully win singles and win doubles and do it in the way she did it. She's 18 now. She's getting ready to go to college. In the past, I've watched Sully and I said, boy, the skills are there. Obviously, the table time is there, but I'm just not sure the competitiveness is or the table management is there yet. Well, folks, it is. To watch her compete, to watch her get emotional after winning the singles title, literally crying after she won the singles championship. And I said this on the air last week, and I say it about Tommy Yore as well. I think Sullivan and Tommy Yore can become the best all-around foosball players, number 1 foosball players in the world, multi-table. Sure. I think both of them can do that. They both have that kind of drive. They have that kind of talent. They're second generation. They've spent a lot of table time, going all the way back to when they were 2 and 3 years old. They have played internationally on all the different tables. To me, I think there's a pretty good chance that we're going to be looking at Sully and Tommy Yore as the best players in the world. I interviewed Keisha Rue back on Mother's Day this year, and you can watch that interview at InsideFoods.com. She was amazing. And I asked her, I said, I told her, I really think Sully could become the best. What do you think? And she said, Sully will not stop until she is the best.
Wow.
And so to see the performance in Texas, to see the focus, to see the energy, the competitiveness, the incredible skill on the table, her 5-row, her 3-row, her all-around game is high end, no question about it. So for me, the number 2 story at the 2021 Texas State Championships was Sullivan Rue.
Okay, so I have to ask you this question because your immense amount of, shall we say, historic background in the field. When was the last time you saw 2 youngsters like Tommy Yore Jr. and Sullivan Rue at the same time emerging this way? When was the last time that happened?
We really have to look at this. There really has not been I suppose we could kind of look back and Moya was not a youngster. But there were players towards the end of the 90s and the early 2000s who were starting to kind of break through. But, I guess we can talk about this now.
Yeah.
Mark, looking back on the last 20, 25 years, we had a breakthrough with Tony Spredeman. First we had a breakthrough with Billy Pappas and Tony Spredeman, then Ryan Moore, and then a bit of a drought, right? Until now. Yeah. And now we see Tommy Yore, we see Kevin Romero, we see Brandon Munoz, we see Sullivan Rue, we see Midori Kimura, all these great young players when we really only had 5 maybe, and really no lady players of note, not at least ones that would break through and win multiple world championships. But we went from kind of a dry spell where we created these incredible generational talents like Pappas, Moore, Spredeman, et cetera, to where, and I guess Fred need to be thrown in there in the late 80s. So maybe Fred and Moya, if we want to go back and look at that. But now we've got all these young players, and Sam DeJohn, including him coming as well. So things look bright right now for American foosball, for the world foosball in general.
And fellers, I got to say, it's about time. And yes, I do have a number 2, which is here.
And fires it home. It's championship point for Tommy Yore, leading 4-3 here in the 4th game in what has been an extraordinary performance on table number 1. Tony trying to stay alive as he tic-tacs on the 5 and can't hold on to the pass. Match point, championship point for Yore.
I know I'm relatively new, but this has got to be one of the most exciting matches I've seen. I would love to see the shooting percentages on this one. This is unreal.
And Tommy Yore now with a chance to win it. Does not have a timeout remaining as he sets it up and strokes it home.
What an incredible match.
Tommy Yore in 2 sets comes back to defeat Tony Spredeman and win the 2021 Texas State Open singles title. And look at him. That might be the biggest win of his career, folks.
I think he knows the gravity of what he just accomplished.
I rest my case. I don't need to say another word.
It's like deja vu all over again.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents the top 5. Number 1.
Well, I can't leave this gentleman out. I would be a fool to leave this guy out.
You put him in number 1. You did. I know you did.
Yeah. Well, John W. Hetrick is my number 1. John W. Hetrick, 1951, filed the patent for the airbag for cars.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And let me tell you what. Clay Toomey, our guy Clay Toomey, goes home on Saturday and is driving on the freeway and hits a stop car in the middle of the freeway at 70 miles per hour, and his life is saved by an airbag.
Right.
So I just gotta say, man, this is a completely different weekend if Clay's not driving a car with an airbag, and if the gentleman John W. Hetrick doesn't invent the airbag or move the patent to cars in 1951.
Right.
There's another Japanese guy who creates the engineering for the explosive component of an airbag, but let's forget about him. It was an American. 1951, John W. Hetrick, man. Hey, thank you, Clay, for still being alive. Thank you, John, for creating an airbag and saving lives all over the world. And God bless the airbag, or our dear friend Clay would not be with us today. He'd not be with us. So that's my number 1.
Wow.
The airbag.
Wow. Way to bring it to a different place here, buddy. No question about it. You know, when we first heard about this on Sunday morning, it was the good news was we heard it from Clay, and when we saw that, we knew, okay, you know, he's texting, so he has to be okay. And he, of course, downplayed it all. He downplayed all of it. But it was scary, man, when you think about it. And literally, it was not even a freeway; it was a single, 2-lane highway where the speed limit is probably 70 or 75, And no, the airbag, if you've never believed in the airbag in the past, you certainly should now, because it did. It saved our great friend Clay Toomey's life, and I think in this situation. And anyway, yes, great one, Mark. I'm going to finally get to my number one, and we've talked about it like 7 times already tonight. But my number one, unquestionably, is Tommy Yore. It's not often. I can look back on my career going back to 1993 as a commentator, and I can really, again, just sort of pick out on less than 2 hands the number of players who have really hit it big in the fashion that Tommy Yore is. Starting with Tommy Atchison probably in 1993, and then moving through to Frederick Collignon and Billy Pappas and Tony Spredeman, Ryan Moore, Moya Thielens. You have to throw her in there as well, and what she did for that 5-6 year period. But Tommy Yore, we're seeing that. Tommy Yore right now, there isn't any question that he is either number 2 in the country or maybe even number 1A. In terms of who are the best players. And, with Ryan Moore kind of on the bench right now, how exciting would it be if we could get Ryan Moore and Billy Pappas, both of them working on their games, get them back, get them involved in the tournament with Frederick Collignon, Tony Spredeman,
that'd be great.
and now Tommy Yore, who I'm already kind of putting on that short list. We're looking at a guy who is playing at a level that is equal to the guys we're talking about. He is on that level, and there are 6, 7 of them. We throw Rob Atha in there as far as multi-table players go, and maybe there's 1 or 2 guys you could consider. Yannick Correa, although without the tornado success. But Tommy Yore is that kind of a player. He is a generational player, and his win it was a heavyweight battle. And if you haven't seen it, you can watch it at InsideFoods.com. But to see him stand up to Tony, defend Tony in such an aggressive way, just. You mentioned it earlier, Tom. You'd never seen anybody block Tony like that. The only other guy we've seen defend against Tony to that degree has been Ryan Moore, and that's the kind of defensive effort we saw from Tommy Yore. And don't. There's no 2 ways about it. Tommy Yore won the singles championship at Texas State because of its defense. Yeah, his 5 is amazing. His 3 is unreal, but it was its defense that won it. Keeping Tony to and again, we didn't have the stats. Clay wasn't available for the reasons that Mark just detailed, but. Tony Spredeman's shooting percentage had to have been in the 30 percentile, between 30 and 40% at best, because of the defense that Tommy Yore was putting up. And the way that he behaves and reacts under pressure, it's something unique, something we do not see much of. The way that he tends to have a game plan, how focused he is, how seriously he takes it, how professional this guy is. And he's a great kid. Everything coming together for this weekend, the breakthrough weekend. I don't need to say he's beaten Tony 3 out of the last 4. I can just tell you right now, he's right there with Tony as one of the great players in the world right now. And looking ahead to next year, to Nantes, to the World Cup, where Tommy Yore was left off the team in 2019, was not put on the team in Murcia. I voted for him. He was not put on the team, did not compete for Team USA on their national team. I promise you, he'll be there next year. And I think he's got a pretty dang good chance of winning that all-around multi-table world championship. That's how good this kid is.
Yeah.
My number one, I want to celebrate it. We don't see it often. I want to talk about the breakthrough of Tommy Yore as my number one.
Guys, I think this is it's certainly difficult to put into words, but you are absolutely nailed that one, Jim, and I totally get that. Totally get that. But I have no audio for my number one. I'll just simply say this. This tournament would not have been what it was and would not be the success it is without Steve Old Man Murray. And he is my number one. He is my number one.
Love it. I thought Mark would put him at number one instead of Mr. Because Mark always puts him at number one, no matter what. Most overrated push kicks. He had Murray at number one.
No, it's and
you know what? I go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to finish that. The first time I met Steve, I felt like I'd known him all my life. Just that one of those people, right?
Yeah.
You shake hands with them. You're like, hey, man, I've met you before. And no, we've never been in the same room prior to this. But yeah, what a great tournament, Steve. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Our longest running top five of all time. At 58 after the hour.
Yeah.
Job,
well, I want to get to the guests our guests are waiting. Then I got to just say 2 quick things about Tom Yore. We talk about second generation players, Tommy Yore rather. We talk about second generation players. Then there's second generation players who come from a high level of discipline, organized approach play. And that's Tommy Yore is an exceptional second generation player. Tom Yore, who is an ambassador and the consummate professional and time management, Tommy Yore has all that, and he has the mentorship and guidance of Tony himself, and surrounded by some of the best players. He can be he can be a generational player in the likeness of Federico in that way. And let's not forget something else. It was 3 years and 7 months ago that Tommy Yore won amateur singles at the Worlds.
Crazy.
And it was because that means he's barely out of being an expert and a pro. He won open doubles at the Worlds. Like 3 years after that, he wins open double. Now he's beating Tony in singles. This is a guy who's in a trajectory unlike anyone we've seen in a long time. I can't even think of anybody else who's been on this kind of, maybe Tony has been on this kind of trajectory where Tony won all those events and then just years later he wins open singles at the Worlds just a few years later. It is the same kind of trajectory, except for he's had since youth been exposed to high level discipline, organized play. So Tommy can do whatever the hell he wants in foosball if he just stays on the path.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you mentioned it earlier, youth plus table time, plus obviously being a second generation player to Tom Yore. How can you miss? All the ingredients are there.
Right. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. And we are seeing it all unfold in front of us. That's the most exciting thing. Perfect storm. No question about it. But guys, what a great top 5. What a great tournament in Texas. Can't wait for the next one. So guys, I know that we've got more stuff happening in the next 6 to 7 months than we could probably handle. But that's okay. We're going to try. In fact, this coming weekend, you guys are going to be on the road. Exactly.
We are.
Yeah. What exactly is going on?
It's the 2021 Beach Town Beatdown in beautiful Lake Worth, Florida, just north of the greater metropolitan area of Miami, South Florida. And it's a fun event. It's a competitive event. And again, Mark, with the quality of players we're going to have there, we're talking about Florida after all. So you're going to get all those big stars down from Tampa, all the great semi-pro players that live in that state and in the southeast as well. So we're looking at a great turnout. We're looking at a great time and a great location, a couple of blocks from the beach. Man, it sounds good.
You guys are so lucky. So lucky. And we're lucky as well because Tommy Brewer and his partner Luke are with us. Tommy, Luke, are you guys with us?
We are, Tom. Thanks.
All right. Welcome to FoosTalk Live.
It's an honor to be on, sir. I've been a listener from the beginning, back when you and Nino DeJohn were on here.
You're kidding.
Awesome.
Oh, seriously?
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
That's me, yep.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for the compliments. But, this coming weekend is going to be big time for you guys. First of all, when did this whole tournament start?
Well, we started it, we don't count the COVID year, right? So this would have been our 3rd year, but it's technically our 2nd, right? So we did the first one in 2019. Yeah. And I don't want to say that it's going to be bigger than Texas.
Well,
nothing's bigger than Texas, then.
I don't want to say it's going to be bigger than Texas.
Yeah, don't say that. Yeah.
That's the end of my sentence.
It's both of you. It's both of you. It's Tommy and Luke. Is that both of you
both
on the
here.
same?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're sharing a mic here.
Oh, yeah. I get it. Okay, cool, man. Hey, good to hear you both.
See how he picked up on that. We didn't. Very good, Mark.
Mark's sharp. He's really
nice.
sharp.
No, actually, it's Brad Anderson doing both of their voices. No, and this is the second one. And, and then Tommy and I were talking last year, before COVID hit and even a little bit afterwards about us coming down to work that event. And Tommy really wanted Inside Foos, really wanted us down there to do it. And I'd quickly become a fan of what Tommy and Dana were doing down in South Florida. And Luke as well, and the South Florida Foosball Club, but we weren't able to do it last year, so they made sure they contacted me early this year to make sure Inside Foos would be there for this one. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, you said we're not going to be bigger than Texas. We can still shoot for a bigger viewership than Texas. We can shoot for that for sure.
Oh yeah, and you should have one. It's going to be a blast, and I think just watching it'll be fun. We have a really cool pit area planned and a good spot for lots of viewers at the event.
Yeah, it's actually a pit VIP area. So I know Mark is super excited about Lilo's and has been talking to Lindsay. But Lilo is actually separated into 2 main areas. They have their restaurant and then they have their VIP area they call the library, which we're sticking Jim and Mark in for the whole weekend.
Nice.
It's got their own separate bar. It's lots of books on the wall because they call it library. But it's but there's it's a very VIP feel to it. So the pit will be definitely different than Texas. Won't be as big, but it'll be it'll have a intimate feel to it.
Hold on, let me practice my commentary for the library.
Yeah,
Sets it up,
exactly.
sets it up in pull shot position. And he strokes it. All right, I'm ready, I think, guys.
Oh, the whisper. That was a real breathy whisper.
Love it.
That was a breathy.
It's a library, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of their little VIP back room. So
now that's going to be amazing. And, and of course, as we talked about, we're looking at a pretty good turnout in terms of the quality of play. I mean, a lot of the big guys are coming down from Tampa and from other parts of the state to compete at the Beatdown. Talk about a little bit about who's coming.
Well, that's all Tommy Brewer. I mean, anybody Tommy Brewer knows is coming. He is literally the social butterfly of foosball. If you've met him on tour recently, he's going to talk your ear off, get you to come down, stay at his house, come and he's going to have you give a tutorial on his rollover like Tony did a couple of years ago here.
Cool.
And like it's all Tommy Brewer. He's the social butterfly of foosball.
Dana will cook you breakfast. There's definitely some good players coming down. The ones that you would expect from Florida. And actually, I was surprised to see that Tommy Atkinson is making the trip from Oklahoma. So
yeah, he might be our furthest player making the trip, actually.
No, some people from Maryland coming.
Oh, that's right, Maryland.
Yeah, and there's one guy from Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
Sorry, Jim. Are you going to play, Jim? Oh, yeah. You're going to go to the
never know.
or what?
The great Mike Green has asked me if maybe I would play. Now I know I haven't registered. I'm hoping maybe that because I know people I can get in. But the great Mike Green has actually asked me to play expert doubles. So we'll see if that still holds up.
We would love it.
You an expert?
Are you Mike's band for that?
Yeah, I thought Jim was a pro master.
And actually, Brad Lorene talked to me today and told me he's coming down. So he definitely wins.
Cool
for this trip.
Who's Brad playing with?
Brad's not allowed to play. He did not enter. He's not one of the elite 80 that entered.
We might let him play anyway, though.
Yeah.
That's what we were hoping. We were hoping.
Yeah,
so
if he shows up and he buys a couple, what's the drink called, Mark?
Maulers.
The Maulers. If he buys a couple Maulers for a couple people, we might let him play in a match or two.
You can lubricate your way in.
Nice. I was going to have to pull some strings otherwise to get Brad in, of course, because Brad's very helpful with Inside Foos as well, and he'll be tooling on down there in his beautiful RV. Hopefully, there's a place outside Lilo's for him to set up and camp.
Oh, you can park in my front yard. It's okay.
Look, you are so accommodating. I got to tell you,
that's amazing.
Tom, let's go to Tom. He's got some questions for you.
Yes. So guys, first of all, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty deep competition. There's going to be some real talent. Now, a good portion of that talent coming from right there in South Florida?
There's a lot of talent in South Florida. We've joked for years about the 4 hotspots of foosball talent in Florida.
Yes.
So you got Tampa, you got Orlando, you got Jacksonville, of course, and then you got this weird little town called Lake Worth.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other, as I like to say. But
Right.
we do have our talent here. So, yeah, I mean, Tommy Brewer and Craig Simpson are going to win everything. So,
yeah, that's how it's going down.
Fascinating.
Most of the people are from Florida. A few coming from Georgia and then up and down the East Coast. But, yeah, the vast majority from Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando, and the Tri-County area of Miami, Broward, and West Palm Beach.
Now, what are your future plans when it comes to the success of this? You're capping it at 80 this year. Do you plan on next year, of course, bumping that up to maybe 120? I mean, what's the plan?
We'll see how smoothly it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom, it all depends on how aggravated we are by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, so Florida already has one pretty big tournament, right? Florida State's that Rob Cadle puts on.
Right.
And we don't want to compete with it, right? One, we don't want to compete with it because we already have it. But two, like, I'm not up for a 250, 300 person tournament. Dana would murder me, right? My wife would not be happy about that. Yeah, so like we might bump it up to say 100, but eventually we'll find that like sweet spot, the number where we don't want to go over.
Okay.
Right. Like our first one, I think we did 60 or 65.
It was just under 60 that we ended up doing in 2019.
Yeah.
We like to use the term boutique tournament because that's what all the kids say right now. Boutique, right?
Boutique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I called it that in a promotional message earlier.
Yeah,
this
you
week.
actually I might have got that from you, Jim. Sorry.
Jim is all the kids.
Jim.
That's
All
me.
the kids or Jim.
Jim is very hip.
But the analytics, the equation really is based on number of tables, on number of events, conflicts, etc. You guys don't want to run late. You want it to be fun. You want it to be manageable, right? So you have to have the right number of tables. 80 seems like a good number for, what do you have, 12, 13 tables? Seems like a good number for
We're
that.
hovering around 10.
Yeah, 10 to 12. We're actually still negotiating with the people at Lilo's whether we can squeeze 2 more tables in there.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
But yeah, we really don't want to run late. We want to leave time for people to hang out and socialize and drink and just party. Like, we scheduled a beach party on Sunday.
Yeah,
everyone will come down and
there. Yep.
have breakfast and toss a frisbee or whatever before we go play foosball all day, right? So,
Awesome.
yeah, it's like 40% foosball tournament, 60% party.
Yeah. Just a reason to get all of our friends together, and some people we've never met before, and make new friends, and we play foosball and we have fun too.
Very cool.
I want to talk about that because, first of all, that's very unique and very, very cool. I mean, I love the idea, man. You have no, God bless all the tournaments out there like Texas State who go for a high drive, high return, high
we
risk.
need those too.
Those
we
are
need those
great
as well. Yeah.
But what you guys are doing is super novel and super fun. I hope this tournament never goes away, and I hope it always stays at 80 if that's the functional number. Shit, if you guys have a headache, sorry about the S-bomb, but hey, maybe make it 7. Make it 70 next year, man. If it's a headache, make it 70. But
so we really, my goal isn't for it to grow bigger.
Yeah.
My goal is for it to be successful.
Sure.
And then someone else somewhere else does the same thing, and I can go to it.
Yeah. We don't have to run it. We can go party with them for the weekend.
Yeah, and then I'm getting blitzed on Maulers or whatever cocktail that gets dreamt up for that one.
and we love it because at Inside Foods, we'll just broadcast. We have 24, 25 countries that will be watching this thing. So we get to splash it all over the planet.
Yeah.
So you might have 80 people, but who knows how many people, thousands of people end up watching this stuff.
Exactly. And from 24 different countries. Now, doesn't it kind of make sense moving forward as we look into the future that instead of there being these events, these state championships, these regional championships that are held around the country, that really rely on a national turnout? And it's because of the way the conditions have changed over the last decade and a half. Instead of that, wouldn't it be smarter and better? And if we had more of these kind of events, these smaller regional events, where really you're relying on just regional turnout and maybe a couple of big pros might pop in, to do this all over the country, this kind of thing where players didn't have to travel so far, they could stay in their region, keep the expenses down, still compete at a high level. Doesn't it make sense for us to kind of look at that template moving forward more so than the existing one where they rely so much on players from California supporting that event in Kentucky or Texas or whatever?
Well, we don't have to go back that far, Jim. We don't have to go back that far when the calendar used to be loaded with 5 granders. 5 granders used to be a small tournament, and they'd be all over the country. Unfortunately, the promoters started stepping on each other's toes and throwing simultaneous 5 granders in regions that were too close, along with a million other things. And so the promoters not working together was one of the many reasons why. But no, to your point, Jim, it makes sense. But while we're on this topic, you guys, Tommy, you and Luke, you had spoke to me before about basically how your, I don't know how you describe it, your group, your consortium, or whatever it is, how you guys do different things differently, how you share the expenses, whatever you want. Your enclave of whatever it is.
I'm writing this.
Well, that's interesting because when I started thinking about it, and getting just wanting to grow foosball in the area, I was not interested in starting a tournament or a weekly or anything like that. I wanted to start like a cult or a gang or something like that. And I think
those are the words I was looking for. But
or a cult or a consortium of sorts.
There you go. That's profitable. Come on.
Same thing. Right. So what was the question?
What do you? Yes, exactly. What do you guys do? What do you and the South Florida Foosball Club do that's unique to what other people are doing?
I've literally referred to it several times as a socialist collective.
Oh,
So it is a collective sense, right? So we have a club, and our club owns the tables, And so no one's making money directly off the tournament unless they win. And so the tables get maintained and replaced by fundraisers that we have, or quarters that the club earns when we're not having tournaments, or we take $10 out of the pot every night, and eventually it adds up, and it's enough. And then if we've had situations where we needed maintenance or we needed a new table, and it's always been easy to just turn to the community that we've built and say, hey, we need $20, we need $50, everyone kick in, we'll get a new table. And within a week or two, we have money for the table.
Love it.
Yeah, you'd be surprised once you build a tournament, and we have 2 locations currently running. We're looking at our third. But once that tournament is there and that sense of family and fun is there, there's always somebody that steps up in a time of need. Hey,
amazing.
the foosball club needs this or that, and somebody goes, "Oh, I got that. I'll order it this week." It's no big deal.
I mean, how many people is it, Tommy? And how many tables is it? How many people and how many tables is it? In the club itself?
Yeah, in the club.
We don't have an actual membership. It's kind of an informal name. But I would say 50.
Yeah, I would say
the ballpark 50 or 60. And those are regular attendees to our local tournaments. There are a few. There are people who pop in once a month or so, where we won't see them for 2 or 3 months, and who jump in. But I'd say 50 to 60 regular attendees.
Yeah, coming in, some to one location, some to the other.
Yeah,
but that's basically over. I think we own. So another novel thing we did as well is, as our old tables get a little too old, we've sold them at a very discounted price to some of the members. And we've said, hey, we're going to sell you this table for very cheap, but we want to maintain access to it for things like the beatdown. Like if we need it for the beatdown, we can always. I bought my table through that same thing. I bought it from the club. I only paid $600 for a pretty nice T3000. But the stigma attached to it was, if the club ever needs it for a big event, it's accessed.
That's awesome.
And it's a good way of getting tables in people's houses, right? That's it's a big expense, and it's tough to find room and convince your significant other that $15,000 is a good investment for my hobby. Just watch this documentary and you'll understand. I have to spend $2,000 on this.
Yeah, that's funny. So it's it gets it sort of, as you describe it here, it's sort of you said a socialist consortium, isn't it? Whether it's Karl Marx and maybe a little bit of a little Karl Marx, a little Groucho Marx, it sounds like.
It's worked surprisingly well, especially when you really take money out of the equation. If you're running the tournament, people look at you with a lot less suspicion, right? And when you open up the tables and you're not charging quarters for the tournament, people kind of go, okay, they're not in it for themselves, even though most promoters aren't, right? But people perceive you as being like a quartermonger, like you go home and jump into a Scrooge McDuck swimming pool of foosball quarters. Like no one does that, but there's always a couple players who look at you like, shifty-eyed, like, what's he doing with all that money? Buying wraps.
Buying wraps. Man, living high. That's for sure.
Yeah. There's no money in foosball. We've already determined that.
Well, you go in with that expectation, and it'll probably be met for sure. And by the way, at South Florida Foosball Club, you do need to register your club at USA Foosball with the foosball clubs. In fact, it sounds like with 50 players, maybe you have 5 different clubs down there. South Florida Foosball Club, Southeast Florida Foosball Club, Southeast Florida. Anyway, you get the point.
Yeah, that's Jim. I apologize. That's probably on me. Tommy doesn't touch computers.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
No, nor should he. So, but Mark and I really looking forward to coming down and working the event, playing the event, and having a good time for sure, and spending some time on the beach. And you mentioned, Tommy, that Sunday, it's at Sunday morning, we have a breakfast on the beach.
Yep. Yeah. Ben Ellis is actually in charge of that. One of our other admin members.
He throws a crazy good party. So he's Prosecco, orange juice. I think I didn't even read past that on the food. So I think he said 50 bottles of Prosecco he's going with. So
seriously,
it's we're gonna have a fun time on the beach on Sunday morning.
It should be a good good throwdown.
So if we
At the end of Saturday night, I'm just going to go sleep down there on the beach and then just wake up.
I'll show you the comfortable spot, Jim.
Yeah.
Can we get? We need evidence, by the way. We need someone to collect evidence against Mark and Jim while they're there, if you guys don't mind.
What, Tom? Why aren't you coming down? I mean, there's still flights available, sir.
Oh man, it's called like a job and a few other things that kind of got in the way. But you know what? I would love to be there. Why don't we say this? I'll take a rain check for next year. How's that sound?
All right, there you go. 2022 beatdown, sir.
Oh,
Don't say rain. It's bad luck.
Yeah, no rain.
Sorry. No, didn't mean that. But
I did see it's supposed to be 90 on Sunday with probably 90% humidity as well. So that's
wait. Should we tell Jim the story of the 2019 beatdown?
Yes. Yeah.
So, and Tony will back this up.
Okay.
The AC at Lilo's went out during the 2019 beatdown.
Really?
The first night.
The first beatdown, the first night, and was not repaired the entire time we were there. It was the sweatiest tournament I have ever been to.
It has to be a record.
It has to be a record. The sweatiest.
It's like definitely a top 5 worthy.
Yeah, these two top 5 sweatiest tournaments. But that's one of the things. In the planning of the beatdown this year, we kept asking the owners of Lilo's, Lindsay, how's that AC going?
They have a new one.
Yeah,
they just installed a new one.
How's the new unit going? Is it good?
It was kind of like retrospectively, it's kind of endearing and charming, right? Like when you got punched in the nose for the first time, you're like, well, that really stunk then. But looking back, like it's a hell of a story, really. Like
seriously. Man,
I get that would be great. I get kind of sweaty anyway, so I would wear a white T-shirt, and it would just be like the sexiest.
It was horrible.
It would be
I'm
the
a
sexiest
terminal
thing
back
ever
sweater.
seen.
So
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh well.
And I come from the West where it's incredibly dry, and yes, I will be fainting right about 10:30 p.m. No matter whether there's air conditioning or not. So looking forward to that. But as my wife says, just stay in the moment and make good plays. That's it.
Ooh, just like that.
I like it.
So,
wait, does she really say that?
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
So,
I'm picturing that on like a quilt on Jim's couch.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. So Tommy, look, I got a quick question. If FoosTalk Live were to check in with you guys next Sunday at this time, would anybody be conscious to give us a report?
I will certainly be conscious.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll be standing.
All right.
I mean, I haven't gone hard for a while, but Texas State was a hell of a warm up. I was a train wreck at the end. I feel like on my home turf, I'll be conscious. I've got the home field advantage. Yeah, I'm not going out.
Hilarious, man.
Hey, Tom, conscious or unconscious, I'll be there for you, buddy.
All right. Just I know you'll have fun. You'll be on the beach, and think about me here in the great white north, freezing to death.
Yeah, we'll send you some pics.
Cool. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Hey guys, we are
beach pics.
Hey, I got a question. I got a question for Luke. I hear that Dana's really, really supportive, and she supports in a myriad of ways. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how Dana what all the things she does to make sure the local tournaments, are successful.
Okay, I promised Tommy I wouldn't tell this story. Yeah, Tommy's gonna go refill his scotch. So the story goes, and it's every Thursday night I do this. Our local tournament is Thursday, and every Thursday I go, hey guys, did you listen to the podcast this week, the Inside Foods podcast? I go, they mentioned Dana again.
Oh.
And he bangs his steer. I'm in the truck. He punches something.
I'm in my truck and I'm listening to the podcast every week, and Jim Stevens goes, hey, yeah, Tommy and Dana Brewer have been doing a great work with South Florida Foosball Club down there. And I just punch the steering wheel. Like, Dana doesn't do anything.
She's the princess.
She's the princess. She shows up late to tournaments.
This is a brilliant, beautiful, wonderful playing woman. Come on now. Yeah, Tommy.
Your head into the room.
If anybody ever outkicked their coverage, buddy, it's you.
100% agreed. Jim, I'm not arguing about that. Dana is unbelievably awesome, and she beats me in singles constantly. She has for years, and it frustrates me no end. But the one thing she does not do is contributing to South Florida foosball.
That's on the record. It's official. It's officially on the record.
She's like the poster girl. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
you guys should come to South Florida and come to our tournament.
Yeah. And that's all we expect of her. But you say she makes a good breakfast, so maybe that's a redeeming quality for sure. So,
Thanks for stirring that pot, Mark. I'm in trouble.
And also, thanks for reminding me that I outkicked my coverage. Right?
Yeah, you get reminded every day, buddy. I'm
That's
sure.
actually what's on the quilt on my couch.
So true. I know the feeling. By the way,
where she got that quilt.
We're all in the same boat, buddy.
I'm what happens when the bridge troll marries the princess, and so I know what you're talking, dude. You gotta kick your coverage by a mile, dude.
Weren't you supposed to turn into like a handsome prince when she kissed you? It just didn't happen.
Oops.
Dude.
I'm waiting for that.
Wait, what happened to you? So hey, we're in the same club, dude.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm still under the bridge.
He's the closest thing to a bridge troll I've ever seen.
I was projecting.
I will eat a billy goat right now.
Oh, that's great. You guys are welcome back here, by the way, anytime you'd like. Tournament or not, I think you guys would be a great addition to FoosTalk Live.
Is it Tom Robinson? Is there any question this event's going to be fun next week? Is there any question at all?
No doubt whatsoever. And we got to get a report from you guys live in FoosTalk Live next week at this time.
That sounds great, Tom. I'll be there, man. I'll hold off on my my highlights.
All right.
Luke might be sober.
I mean, I got one. My flight leaves on Sunday. I think it's midday or late. I might change my flight. We're going to be partying hard.
Mark.
Dude.
Yeah,
I got to change my flight.
That's a ridiculous fly out time.
I know. I might have to change it.
So you guys all had highlights tonight. Luke's drinking the same beer that Jim had.
Yeah, I had the highlight. I had a highlight tonight. Yeah,
Nationally available. We call them JLIs.
JLIs. We call them JLIs here.
Oh man.
Yeah, JLI. He'll be coming down from Jacksonville, right? To play.
I actually don't. He just had a baby, so I think he's taking some paternity leave from foosball.
Okay. All right.
Stuff happens.
That guy can really bank the ball, can't he?
Yeah, we'll miss him.
Very good goalie war shooter. Well, we're not going to miss you guys, that's for sure. I'll be down there in 4 days. Hopefully I'll have a ride at the airport. Yep. Yeah. So for sure.
Well, it's
sure. I can hitchhike. I'll be hitchhiking up to Lake Worth from Fort Lauderdale, and no problem. I enjoy it.
I got your flight info. We'll pick you up.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. But no, looking forward to it. Looking forward to an incredible time. Looking forward to some great competition. Looking forward to hanging out with my buddy Mark Torres as we bring you another great event on the tour this year from Lake Worth, Florida, from Lilo's in Lake Worth, Florida. If you're in the neighborhood, stop in. If you're not, watch us live at InsideFoos.com starting at 6 p.m. Friday night Eastern time when Mark and I go live from what should be a heck of a good time down in South Florida.
A special shout out to Dana Brewer for being the glue that holds it all together down
Holds
there.
it all together.
He just fixed it.
You're only digging. You're
You
digging
guys
the hole
help her
deeper.
out a
Mark.
little bit.
You're digging the hole deeper, man.
Just help her out a little bit, guys. Come on. Like I tell my kids all the time, just help Dad out a little bit here. But we really appreciate you guys coming on, and it's going to be a lot of fun to get the four of us in the same room. Tom Robinson. It could be dangerous for everyone else.
Well, I'll save money for bail for you. How's that sound?
There you go.
Now, guys, Tommy and Luke, thank you so much for being on FoosTalk Live, man. It's been a blast. Let's do this again real soon.
Oh, for sure. We appreciate you having us, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Can't wait to see you in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
3 days, man.
Beach
Less
Town
than 4
Beatdown.
days. Yeah, I'll be there Thursday afternoon.
Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Perfect.
All right. Well,
I'll be wearing shorts every day. No doubt about it.
Man, that is the life. That is the life. Well, I'll send you some snow. All right.
Yeah.
So, guys, wow, what a great conversation. What a great time you're going to have. I'm jealous. But somebody's got to hold this thing down.
Let me say this. I was in Texas and I ate and drank more than I'm used to doing for a long time. I don't party at all anymore. So I went crazy in Texas a little bit on the last day or so and had a great time. I started a 5-day fast to prepare to go to Florida.
I heard
this. I started a 5-day fast, and I'm like 2 days in, only water. And my wife brings home a bunch of chicken wings, and she just ruined me. I just crushed it. 18 chicken wings within an hour of seeing them. But I got to get back because I've got to prepare. I got to prepare. I know Florida is going to be a great time. It's going to be that kind of time, man. Where I got to prepare. I got to exercise and get sound of body and spirit and mind, so I can lose myself on that weekend.
Wow.
It's the most fun of ways.
It's going to be incredible commentary. I can only anticipate, Jim and Mark doing their thing Friday, Saturday, Sunday from South Florida. It's going to be a blast.
Did you just refer yourself in the third person? You just referred yourself in the third person. First, it's going to be Jim and Mark doing their thing.
Things have changed.
Mark, is that okay? Is that all right? Is that all right?
It's fine. Yeah, it's good. You've arrived.
Friday night, 6 p.m., folks. Jim and Mark live.
So,
and
guys,
Mark, rebook your flight for Monday, dude. What are you thinking?
This is the insanity of this. I miss a day of work, and the opportunity cost when I miss a day of work, and it's still like, why? Yeah, I miss a day of work. I'm thinking about it. Like, yeah. I'm thinking about it. I may do it. It's fun. It's too much fun.
It's like 6 months of pay for the rest of us, and he's almost willing to do it on that Monday.
Love it.
Whatever. But hey, you guys, South Florida Foosball Club, Tommy and Luke, you get out the first 20 people who say the word Pepe to me. I'm going to buy them a mauler.
Oh, there you go.
It's one per request. One per request, max 20, and whoever it is, come see Mark and
say, "Are you going to
Pepe,
advertise this anywhere else, or is this going to be exclusive to FoosTalk Live listeners?"
You know what I should do too? No, there's another rule. I don't know if I should make it so 10 of them can't be registered for the tournament. So you got to be 10 people that are not registered.
Now
stipulations. Maybe I should do it that way.
Sign the contract, see what happens.
Yeah. I'm going to get some more people there that weren't already going to be there. Why should I be feeding Blake a mauler for crying out loud? He was going anyway.
Well, guys,
I heard when you made the offer before.
I
don't remember there being a 20-person cap.
Oh yeah, there's a 20-person
cap. Reeling it in a bit.
Yeah, I thought it was anybody that did it all weekend long.
Dude, I'm going to add so much fine print. You basically got to be HIV. You got to be HIV positive from a single parent home. It's going to be so much. You have no idea.
Check. And what else do I have to do?
We're off the rails here. Off the rails.
He came back.
Can you blame him? Anyway.
It's
going to be a great time.
Take it back.
It's the Beach Town Beatdown next weekend. Jim and Mark are going to be there, and the rest of us will just have to listen into InsideFoos.com. And it's been a great night tonight. We do have bonus interviews we want to air from last weekend. We have Arthur Mitchell, who's an official for Foosball, and we also have Rob Mares. And guys, we're going to finish off the show with their interviews. We're going to talk to you next weekend on FoosTalk Live. FoosTalk Live presents a Texas State Championship bonus interview. Now, let's go behind the scenes with Texas State Foosball head official, Arthur Mitchell. FoosTalk Live, coming to you from Texas State Championships 30th anniversary celebration here. Just wrapping up the weekend. It is Memorial Day, and man, we have seen some amazing matches. The chemistry here has been electric all weekend with incredible turnout, and the only reason this tournament was possible is because of the people who work here, who are putting this together, the support staff, and I'm so happy and so pleased to welcome to FoosTalk Live, Arthur Mitchell.
Thanks, Tom. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. So it's. I noticed you sitting behind the booth, the sign-up table, the entire weekend.
Yeah.
And
this weekend it was just registration for me.
Right.
I did ref one match. There were no refs available for the finals of rookie doubles, so I ref that match. And then in the open singles match that they just had, they called Brandon because mainly they were concerned about stuff going on the table, resets and darts.
Right.
But because it's hard to do both time and look for that stuff.
Yes.
Brandon called me over and handed me. I did time.
Okay, I got you.
I think the last two games of the match.
And just to give us an idea, obviously, you know the sport. How long have you played or worked in the sport of foosball?
I first started playing around 77.
77?
Yeah.
That's 40 plus years ago.
I don't know if I ever saw a table prior to college.
Yeah.
That's, when I first started playing. I saw some players and it was just casual. kind of thing. And I went to Temple University in Philly.
Yes.
Which is where I grew up. And a buddy of mine, during one summer, we're going to the campuses of, it's University of Penn and Drexel are right next to each other.
Right.
And I saw a game room there, and I went into the game room, and they were advertising foosball tournaments. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Because up until that point, I just didn't take the sport seriously.
Yeah.
Because the people that I played against, it just seemed to me like it's all reflexes and that sort of thing.
Right.
So I see these players playing in the tournament, and it's like, oh, there's something to this.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to get good at
So
this.
these were good players.
Well, relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking, yeah.
They were the equivalent of today's high amateurs, I guess.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
But enough to get your attention.
Right, exactly.
And so that began your addiction?
Exactly, it did.
And so from that point, I mean, that was 1977.
Mhm.
How did it progress for you? Did you get involved in the tours?
There wasn't a whole lot of really good players in Philly.
Right.
So, like, for example, that Draw Your Partner that I played in, for the first 6 months, I was in the bottom 1/3 of the pool.
Yep.
And after 6 months, I'm already in the middle 1/3.
Yeah.
And then maybe a year later, I'm in the top 1/3. And
No
I'm like,
kidding.
well, how am I going to get better at this? So I find out about tournaments going on in Long Island where they do have some real good players.
Okay.
At that time, the top players on TS in the Northeast were Lou Salkind from New York City and Pete Swartz from Boston.
Got it. Yeah. Now, and of course, there must have been a point at which you decided to get involved in behind the scenes of foosball tournaments. When did that start to happen for you?
That's quite a bit later. My first Worlds was 1980.
Okay.
And I took the officials test and passed there.
Really?
Yeah. So.
And that's only 3 years after you'd first discovered the game.
Right. It was reading the rule book. It wasn't that difficult for me to learn this stuff.
I gotcha.
You know, not to mention the fact that most of the tests, even today, it's multiple choice. I could take a multiple choice test
And
in a
pass it.
language that I don't speak and still do all right on it.
Right. A matter of odds. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, so when it comes to your current position with Texas States, what is your official title here?
It's probably just, jack of all trades.
Okay.
Do registration. I guess I'm still nominally speaking. I'm Steve Murray's head official. But it's just with Tom being the head of the rules commission at ITSF that I'll defer to him on something.
Right. So you're here to enforce rules, etc.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
I got you. Understood. So now, when it comes to this weekend's turnout for Texas States, I mean, this is 30th.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's what, 450 players?
Was it 450?
Yeah,
no
something
kidding.
like that.
That is phenomenal. And how do you feel now that we've almost come to the end?
I'm tired. I'm looking forward to sleep.
Okay, I gotcha. So, can you discuss any highlights that you noticed? Any matches you watched that you thought were like awesome or amazing? Too many?
Yeah, it's tough to pick them out because when Tom, Yore, and Dylan Marshall beat Tommy Atkinson and Robert Morris, Tom Yore played at a level. I've seen him play at this level.
Okay.
But he's one of these people that I think he's more variance than your average
Up
master.
and down, yeah.
But when he's at the top of his game, he's really scary.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. So he was at the top of his game.
That match, I was really impressed with the way he played.
Nice. Fantastic. So what's next for you? What tournament are you going to be at?
I think the next tournament that I'm going to is Nationals.
Nice.
There's a small chance I'm going to go to the Florida tournament.
Okay.
But I don't think it'll work out this year. Hopefully next year it does.
After all this time, of course, it's been like 14 months where, really no majors have occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice there's a pent-up demand now for
Yes,
football?
definitely.
It really is exciting. I think it bodes well for the sport.
It does.
So what do you think needs to happen to bring more people out to these?
I think this is the eternal question, and I'm
Yep.
not sure. Like, I've heard Mark on your podcast talk about he thinks that there should be more audience participation, which I'm fine with.
Yep.
But also, he's brought up he thinks there should be more table talk, and I think as a
Right.
player, it wouldn't bother me if my opponents talked to me. It
Okay,
honestly wouldn't.
okay.
But as an official, I think it's a slippery slope.
Yes, understood, and that makes sense, right? It's a kind of thing we have to balance it some way,
right?
So it's not too distracting and not unfair, but at the same time, generate a bit more energy in the room where
Right.
people can feel like, that was awesome,
Right.
You know,
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Europeans, the way they look at things, and of course, when they're doing World Cup activity, you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of people in a room watching matches and just cheering for their country.
Right. Well,
Um,
it's a little bit different here because we're all supposed to be this one big family.
Yep.
And especially, being like I'm still head official on IFP.
Okay.
Adrian Zamora and I became co-head officials in '93 on Tornado USTSA.
Gotcha.
And then when they handed off the tour to Mary was like, well, I like Adrian, but he doesn't come to my tournaments very often.
Okay.
So you're my head official.
Gotcha. So how does that feel to be thought of in such high regard, where people want you to be there?
I like it. I mean, for
Yeah.
sure. I think anybody appreciates compliments. you know?
Sure. And I mean, it's hard work. And
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I think making rulings is easy.
Okay.
I think officiating itself is harder than playing.
Right. And in the sense, you don't want to interfere with the actual match itself.
Right.
And interfere with the outcome, but at the same time, you got to stick with the rules.
Right.
And be fair.
You can't let one side get an unfair advantage on the other.
Right. Understood.
There's also another type of rule, which is what I call a balance rule.
Okay.
Which is you do not want offense to get an unfair advantage over defense, or defense to get an unfair advantage over offense. And I'll give you an example from basketball.
Okay.
Can you imagine no charging? Right? That would give offense a huge advantage.
Yep.
Now, defense would be no blocking fouls.
Exactly. You can do whatever you want to get the ball down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to have those kind of rules too.
Understood. And of course, these days, it's a lot of times what we call the pro jar, where the table gets jarred for a specific moment.
I mean, you see it and you got to decide, did it actually affect play? And
who actually made it happen? Because sometimes they kind of do it together, and it's that can be a tough call.
Yes.
But everybody gets excited and wants, is trying to grab for the ball. So this kind of stuff in your position, it's got to be very difficult.
Yeah, it is. And we were talking about being able to root for people.
Yep.
Well, it's like I'm friends with everybody on tour, just about.
Sure.
It's like I can't be rooting for one side over the other.
Understood. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
It's like I may internally want, prefer one side to win, but
Sure.
it's like
you have to be objective, right?
Yeah. You try to be objective.
That is your job.
I don't claim to be the best official on tour.
Okay.
I really think that would be Terry Rue and Adrian Zamora. They're, I think, the two best.
And they're also great players too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Tom Yore's a good official. Brandon Moreland's a good official.
Okay.
And those guys are great players too.
Right.
But it's like, I think it isn't so much to call everything, but to try to be fair. It's try to be consistent.
Yep.
And if
Maintain
I
the even
call
keel.
a particular match too loose, all right, well, I make mistakes like everybody else.
Sure. Have you ever had a moment where a player really got upset with you about your calls?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess it's inevitable, right?
Yeah, it is.
Now, do they typically apologize later on, or what?
I would say most of the time it's sort of water under the bridge. I've had it where it was really bad at the time that I called it, and then later on they did apologize.
Okay,
So-
I got you. Well, all is fair in love and foosball.
You don't all have to like me, and it's like if you don't want me to officiate the match, if you prefer somebody else, I never insist on officiating a match
Right.
unless there's no one else available.
Yep, I got
You know?
you. Well, hey, we're glad you do what you do, and thank you for your service, by the way.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No, it's this is something when people are getting out to these bigger tournaments, you gotta be there for us, right?
Mhm.
You gotta make this thing happen.
Yeah.
And we are so indebted to you for what you do.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
And more indebted still for you to stop by and talk to us on FoosTalk Live. We greatly appreciate it.
This was fun.
Yeah. Again, Arthur, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, Tom.
What's happening for the rest of today? Are you have tear down and this kind of thing?
No, I'm not involved with that at all.
Gotcha.
Most likely, Tracy McMillan and I have been friends ever since I moved to Houston in 1990.
Gotcha.
So he's kind of moved around different houses. About, I guess it's roughly 2 years ago, he moved into my development.
Oh.
He's now a 3-minute walk away.
No kidding.
So I'm riding back home with him.
Nice.
And there's another of our friends, Randy Price. He lives maybe a mile and a half away.
Well, tell Tracy I said hello again.
I will do that. Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it. Again, Arthur Mitchell on FoosTalk Live. We'll be back with more.
FoosTalk Live presents a Texas State Championship bonus interview. Now, let's spend some time with foosball legend and movie star, the incomparable Rob Munoz.
This is FoosTalk live from Texas State Championships, the 30th anniversary. An amazing turnout this weekend. It is the final day. It's Monday. And the tension in the air in this place was just phenomenal. Just watching Tony Spredeman and Tommy Yore Jr. going at it. And wow, what a match. So if you saw that on Inside Foods, I'm sure you probably saw this. Now, the whole time I was watching the match, I noticed there was a gentleman standing off to the side, on the side where Tony Spredeman is playing. And you may know his name, Rob Morris. Rob Morris, welcome to FoosTalk Live.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, man. I'll tell you, first of all, give me your impression of this weekend.
Oh, this weekend is, first walked in the room, it felt like the World Cup atmosphere. It's just over the top. They have over 400 players.
400.
And they've got this huge room with all this overhead scaffolding and stuff. It's super pro. Gym's like way up there. I think there's 8 pit tables or something, and they have a lounge area out front that 100 people could hang out in with free video games.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it's such a
all
cool
kinds
thing.
of cool stuff. It's a great atmosphere. Love the room.
So when was the last time you came to Texas State?
I think it was maybe 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
And how many total have you done?
Oh, God, quite a few.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I mean, it's 30 years.
I know.
It's what the longest running current state championship.
It's impressive, huh?
Yeah.
It's only
no doubt.
fitting, though. Tornado Factory's right down the street.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gee, is that anything to do with it? I don't know. I don't know. So, okay, this weekend, give me an idea. What was the most exciting moment, first of all, for yourself in a match?
Shoot, man, that's a tough question. Most exciting moment for me in a match?
Oh, let me rephrase that. How about the toughest moment?
The toughest moment?
Yeah.
Oh, God. These are some hard questions. I didn't have that great of a weekend, first of all, so I don't know that I have that many, highlights to look at.
All right.
I don't know that any one really stands out this time. I didn't really have any big finals or anything to speak of.
Okay.
I could think of a few good shots I hit here and there. I won some decent matches, but I'm just trying to be honest. Really, nothing jumps off the page.
And who was your partner for the Open?
Tommy Atkinson.
Yeah, Tommy. Yeah. You guys have played together before a few times.
Yes, sir.
So is the chemistry still there?
Oh, yeah, we have chemistry. We just need to get our games together, and
Right.
Yeah, it's just, we've had kind of a break with this COVID thing, and,
Right.
And I think we're still trying to just kind of get back to that level that we were at before.
Okay.
I know, at least I am, and I don't know. I think a lot of us were just trying to get back to form.
Yep.
At this point, still.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Uh-huh.
So now for you, for the near future here, what's your next event? What do you?
The next event for me is the Nationals, which is in Denver, my hometown.
Okay.
And about 3 weeks out. So
Gotcha.
I'm looking forward to getting it together next 3 weeks.
And
getting
when you
prepped up
say
a little better.
getting it together, what does that entail?
Well, and some table time. See, I have a seasonal business that I do, and I've just finished my busy season.
Seriously?
So I'm
Okay.
a little overworked and a lot under practiced right now.
Understood.
But I still
I've heard
wanted
that
to be
before.
here, and I'm still glad I came.
Yep.
But my rust was showing, and I'll have. It'd be nice to have 3 weeks to get my body well rested and get my game tuned up and knock some of that rust off.
So now that I mean, obviously you're a player that is well seasoned. Now I'm not going to use the term rust. You use that term. How do you blow that dust off? How do you do that?
It's just table time,
Just table time.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. It's just and getting my body rested. I'm just overworked right now.
Yeah.
Are
you stocking up on Eggo waffles?
Yeah. Just the usual one a day.
All right.
Hasn't got.
It's
the best, buddy.
I'm just I think the whole idea for me, especially because of my perspective as a novice, I'm always curious as to what's the transcendent level, of course, of players like yourself. What does it take you to get you over the top, back to that point where, let's say you're in a zone and you know it's inevitable you're going to win?
Well, they you got your execution and all your physical stuff on the table.
Right.
And then you've got what's going on between your ears. And we like to think that they're two separate things and they're not connected, but they're very much connected.
Sure.
And when you aren't hitting the ball well, you're not playing with as much confidence, you're hesitant with your picks and things like that. When you're hitting the ball well, you're much more confident in your play selection and your execution.
Okay.
And you're not as worried about the execution as much when you're a little more automatic.
Right.
It's in tune with that, you know.
You're flowing.
The muscle memory, maybe you call it.
Okay.
All that.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah. It's a formula though, right? It's something that you guys as individuals have found something that works and you use it again and again and again.
Definitely.
And so I got to ask you this, especially this weekend, there's a deep talent pool here.
Yeah.
And so who do you right now want to say, okay, in let's say next year or the next 5 years, we're going to be the biggest threats?
Well, that's a long list, you know?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, especially if you go 5 years out, because the cool thing about foosball is that people's games change and people might put in time or you might have some light bulb moments or you never know.
Yep.
So in 5 years, could be anybody.
Yep. That's
could be
true.
Someone not even
maybe that's unfair
on the
to say,
radar
right?
yet,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But right now, there's so many good players. I mean, it would be a long list, and I don't want to leave anybody out.
Understood.
You
Understood.
know, but
who do you not want to face right now?
Right now, I don't want to face any of these animals. Well, Tony beat me up pretty good in singles earlier, so he's usually up at the top of the list. Not that I don't want to face him. I love playing him.
Sure,
I mean,
sure. What do you think of King Gabriel?
Great player.
Yeah. Have you had encounters? Have you had?
I've had encounters.
Yeah.
Yes,
What do you think of his game?
He's sharp. Sharp. Yeah. Razor sharp.
And it seems like he has the drive that's required. And so anybody else come to mind? Anybody in that?
Oh, absolutely. The Costa Rican guys. Let's go with them. Kevin and Brandon.
Keep hearing their names.
Kidding me?
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
Yeah,
Munoz is a
worthy.
name that we
Making waves.
hear a lot now.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Wow.
Munoz and Romero. They're for real.
Now let's get down to brass tacks here and I don't want you to give away trade secrets, but it's cool. So it's only between us. Now today, while we were watching the match between Tony and Tommy, very intense, open singles. There was a lot of points, of course, where Tony would step away from the table and you're standing over behind him. You guys are having conversations in between during timeouts. Can you give us an idea as to what you guys are talking about?
That's nothing too earth-shattering. I'm watching the match. I'm in his corner.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I think I could tell him, I would. But
Sure.
he's a tough guy to coach.
Okay.
I don't try to coach Tony. He's if he asks about something, I'll offer what I think, and I've got a foos brain that he might like to pick now and then, but I'm not over there to coach Tony. I'm over there to watch the match. I'm in his corner.
Yeah.
And he could sound off to me if he wants to, which is fine.
Sure.
But it might have looked more like I was his corner man than I was.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And we might have been talking about the last play, and oh man, I missed that shot, or just nothing too big.
General
But
stuff.
I think it's sometimes it could be something big that you might notice or mention, or
Critical moment.
maybe something he wants to just air out, sound off on, So I don't make a point of being there for his matches or anything, but I was there for that one, and it was the finals. It was a couple good matches, And
Right.
So nothing more than that.
Yeah, you know what? If you want to be coy, that's awesome. I appreciate that. You're protecting that. You're protecting your interest. Now, of course, these days, because there's just so much competition, and any bit of information that might get out there to another player could mean the difference between winning and losing.
But when you're watching the open singles final with Tommy and Tony,
yeah,
it's not like a lower ranked player that still has limitations in their game, and you can find you're more focused on strengths and weaknesses at that level.
Right.
And these guys aren't going to have a lot of weaknesses, man. Are you kidding me? It's
The
more
top of the
tendencies, and you're beyond that physical stuff. So I'm not going to be able to pick Tommy's game apart for Tony over there. That's silly to think.
Yeah.
So again, honestly, it might have looked like I was his corner man over there. I'm just watching the match, and we'll draw a little bit.
I get that.
So
you're
certainly not counting on me for information. Let's put it that way.
Now let's talk about being a movie star. What's changed in your life since Foosballers? And
man, it's that's hard to put into words. I'm feel very blessed to have been a part of the movie.
Yeah.
And made a lot of new friends with it through the movie, and still keep in touch with Joe Haslinga.
Yeah. Okay.
Regularly, love that guy. We just connected,
Right. Right. He's that kind of person.
We're both from Tucson.
You
both
are
from Arizona. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was thinking you're always in Colorado.
No, I moved there in '94. Yeah,
Okay.
93, 94, right in there. So I was born and raised in Tucson. And
Gotcha.
Joe told me he went to the U of A, and all of a sudden we're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, and this weekend's a lot of posters to sign, and people
Yes.
like, hey, we saw the movie. It was really cool, and it's very humbling. It's great. I again just feel so blessed to have been a part of it. And
may I say that
awesome.
that the portion of the movie where you're showing around your foos room.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Cool.
It's like, this is where this guy lives. This is his domain.
Pretty sweet setup down there.
It really is.
Yeah, there's been a lot of one-liners from it, and Echo references and stuff, and how's that not the sweetest whatever,
Are you the Echo guy?
Yeah. So it's fun, man. I can't say enough about the movie, and what an amazing job they all did, and Joe being the captain of that crew, but they just blew it away, man.
Yeah.
It was just off the charts.
Yeah.
Really
Talk
so
about
professional.
quality, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just now he's got new projects, I guess, I'm sure, in the
Oh
works.
yeah, he's a Hollywood guy. I mean, that's what he does. And he had the F is for Family show. That's Joe's
Right.
a writer on
I've watched
there.
that a few times.
Yeah, and you can tell he's got an eye for stuff that's not just funny or interesting. He's just got an eye for stuff. Like the Eggo. Wait, hold on, do that again. And we spent 30 minutes on that damn Eggo, but everybody loved it. And Joe knew they would somehow,
No, you have to pour the syrup.
Yeah,
this way,
pour it the same way you did before. Yeah. And, he managed how we are at a tournament.
Oh, I guess so.
And Joe managed to get a lot of humor into the movie without making fun of anybody.
Right.
Whereas in the past we've kind of gotten burned, before. But
that's a great point, because he respected.
Oh
story.
yeah, he kept it
He
all very,
respected it.
very. We looked serious about what we're doing and stuff. But there's lots of funny moments, That was great.
I think my favorite at the end was the cannon moment with
Yeah.
Cobb, right?
That embodies Lafredo pretty good too. And just a quick scene there.
So have you talked to Todd at all this weekend?
Just a little bit, yeah.
And how's he doing?
He's doing good. Yeah. And that cannon scene, he didn't mean for that to be in the movie. He said he was just joking around. But there again, Hesling
great moment.
Sees things and gets his vision, so he follows through.
He's I think like Joe. I think sometimes when it comes to putting together audio, I find clips, that are like
you could tell like that's gold. I'm gonna edit that in there. I know where or how.
You can't lose
Joe
that
with the movie stuff. And there's a lot of times like, oh, I like the way you said that. Can you say that again? Get the camera over here. Say it the same way. Do that again. Do it just like So it's like you have to like recreate.
You get like
stuff,
50 takes in one moment.
Pretty awkward, but it wasn't as hard as you'd think.
Right. Would you do it again?
Oh, in a second.
Yeah.
In a second. Definitely.
No, it's when you think about the results and what it's doing for foosball, and
it's huge.
That leads me to my next question. What does this look like now that COVID is over? And we've come into this room with a record number of people. What do you think is going to happen next?
I think that the COVID just dammed things up.
Yeah.
And now we've pulled the finger out of the dam.
Yeah,
and it's
seriously.
gonna unleash. I'm serious. Everybody wants to get out. We've all been wanting to play.
Yep.
And do what we love. And now that it's back, then the numbers are noticeably larger.
Yeah,
noticeably.
Man. I mean, significant. Like,
I think we're looking at some good tournaments.
No doubt. So, and of course, you're going out to nationals soon, and you're now Colorado. What's the scene like that? What's happening going in your neighborhood? Are you guys got your local DYPs?
There's good action down there. Yeah, I don't hit the local all the time.
Okay.
But there's plenty of good local action. Great promoters there. Tim Walters.
Yep.
And of course the Chapmans too, but Tim runs the local and like keeps us with killer tables and gets new balls and stuff,
Nice.
And because we want to actually practice for the big ones, So he makes sure that the conditions are good and he runs a nice tight tournament, which is nice, and keeps things flowing.
I think that would be like
scene.
Most foosball people like myself, general fans and players, would like die for the opportunity to get picked with Rob Morris for a DYP, like a local DYP. That'd be, I played with Rob Morris. Oh my God, I can die now.
Appreciate that.
So, if anybody were in your neighborhood, and how did they find out about your local scene?
I'm not really sure. I'm not much of a computer guy, but there's probably some kind of a Colorado foosball chat thing,
place to hook up.
Face page, whatever.
That's great.
No, I'm sure you can find us.
So so Rob, man, it's so kind of you to take some time to talk.
Cool.
Really appreciate
it. Thanks for having me.
I think this is a foreboding of some wonderful things in the field in this sport. But man, here's to all the victory, all the shall we say, the suspense and excitement of this sport for you. Wish you all the best with that, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
FoosTalk Live is proud to bring you these Texas State bonus interviews. Our sincere thanks to Arthur and Rob. We hope to see you at our next big tournament with